Hi there and welcome. This is Just Nigeria. Coming up on the program. Intimate partner violence. We explore the dysfunctional dynamics of domestic abuse in romantic relationships. Also, up close and personal. Kamaru Usman, Nigerian-born UFC reigning welterweight champion, shares his rags to riches story. And pension scam. Our investigative piece exposes corruption in chasing retirement benefits in Nigeria. Plus,
hey, I'm Bernard from Malo. I'm a physician. Check me out.
The multiple award-winning physician who shook the foundations of America's National Football League with his scientific discovery. Glad to have you join us here on Just Nigeria from the BBC and Channels Television, where we look at the stories making the rounds on social media. I am Wale Fakile. Let's start with our top story. Intimate partner violence is attaining perhaps an epidemic proportion in Nigeria today. From knife stabs, acid baths, gunshots to more violent attacks, many lives have been lost and those lucky to survive are left with physical and mental scars. In this report, I tell the story of Joy Ndubueze, who was shot by her ex-fiancé. I also spoke to experts to understand what goes on in the mind of an abuser. Please be advised that some viewers may find portions of this report disturbing.
If I didn't hear the sound of the gun, I believe his aim was to shoot me here, and that would have been the end of me.
A close shave with death and the future, perhaps now stored. Joy Ndubueze's story is that of harrowing pain and horror. Her life was once filled with hope, happiness, vim, and vigor. It all tumbled downhill on October 8th, 2020. There was a quiet disagreement, followed by a thunderous gunshot. The shooter, her ex-fiancé, and police officer, Eze Ainwansoba.
Carrying his rifle, it was half dressed, was carrying the rifle. So before we sat down, he removed the magazine from the gun, placed on the table. So when I said, I'm not going to, and I said he's not going to call my pastor, and I said, okay, no problem, that I'm leaving. So I stood up. He took the magazine from the table, shook it in the gun, paid for the drink. So while we were now going, I was 2 steps ahead of him. The call of the agents came in. So I was receiving the call when I had him cock the gun. So I looked like while the cocking of the gun. So I just turned my side. That was when the bullets went in and came out. I lost consciousness. I want to know the reason why he wants to take my life. After telling me it's not interested.
A statement from the police says Eze has now been dismissed from the force and charged with attempted murder in absentia as he is not in police custody as at the time of filing this report.
I saw they had to slit my throat for them to fix a fight so I could be able to lie down.
Joy counts herself lucky for making it out alive. Her story is one of hundreds of intimate partner violence, a form of domestic violence that has shocked the country. The menace is not gender specific. Both men and women have been and continue to be victims. In February 2014, a youth pastor, Akolade Arowolo, was sentenced to death for killing his banker wife. A lawyer, Yewande Oyedinro, was in November 2017 convicted of manslaughter by a high court sitting in Oyo State. Fast forward to March 2019, a high court sitting in Ikeja sentenced Leko Shunde to death by hanging for beating his wife to death at their Egbeda Lagos residence. And in January 2020, Miriam Sanda, a nursing mother, was found guilty of killing her husband and was sentenced to death by hanging in Abuja. Most recently, one Anthony Ekpeama allegedly beat his pregnant wife to coma. He reportedly went to the hospital where she was being resuscitated and removed her oxygen mask. The woman died and Ekpeama has since been arrested. These cases are reflective of just how massive the problem is. There are scores of other unreported or underreported stories, especially as victims and their families are wary of stigma. But the question that begs an answer is just how the couples become so violent to the point of killing their spouse.
They are insane. That person's head is not correct.
We are living in the last days. The Bible has already said it, that now people will become violently.
When someone came from a home where he or she watch or experience violence between his or her spouses or the guardian, is likely to develop an attitude towards violence. And then also, when people get married or get into a relationship, they have unfulfilled expectations. They go in with so much expectation that the partner is not always aware. Oftentimes, there is a dissonance between reality and this expectation, so they are unfulfilled and the person becomes violent. And of course, the greatest of it is the vicissitude of life.
Most reported cases of intimate partner violence seem to share a pattern of possible triggers: accusations of infidelity, altercations on finances, and disagreements on how to run the home are the usual culprits. Beyond these socioeconomic issues, what exactly goes on in the mind of an abuser, and what are the real triggers of abusive behavior?
It's because of all these things that they are taking, drugs, all those things. Immediately they take the drugs, they will not know what they are doing.
Some have natural or temper that they cannot control.
Our human behavior is majorly in the unconscious. The unconscious and the subconscious are about 95% of our entire being. So only 5% is what we see outside at the action. So inside this subconscious, we have the triggers, we have the thought processes, we have the emotions, we have the feelings, we have the belief. So in between all those, there are issues that has happened before that is currently happening that can trigger the person to becoming aggressive. It's difficult to say this is it.
Victims of abuse are sometimes caught in the web of economic powerlessness. In cases like this, seeking help or walking out of such violent relationships is not seen as an option. This survivor of intimate partner violence, who now runs an NGO to help people stuck in abusive relationships, says there are usually warning signs.
Now, they tend to want to blackmail you, they run you down and belittle you and say all sort of things that makes you look silly. Another sign to watch out for is communication breakdown. They make sure you have no access to friends. They make sure you have no access to people outside, especially because they know you could seek help. Financial abuse. They stop you from working, stop you from businesses. They don't even give you access to funds, and they don't even drop money for you to eat or feed the kids.
Rosalind adds that victims don't sometimes get the support they desire and that the road to justice is usually a long one.
Our society really feels, okay, so it's marriage and it's a personal thing. We really would not want to come in. And so sometimes because of the victim blame and stigmatization, even the victims find it very difficult to go seek for help. It's been 2 years since I have left, and it's a shame to say that my case with the Social Development Secretariat inactive because of the slow judicial system is still almost lying dead.
The feeling of being handed the short end of the stick can be overpowering in a violent relationship. But experts say there are options available for victims of abuse and even perpetrators of the act.
We have a lot of professionals. We have the Nigerian Psychological Association of Nigeria, we have the mental health, we have a whole lot of people who are doing that. The challenge that people have not actually bought into it the way they should.
The solution to being a victim or a perpetrator of abuse is repentance from the person first, realizing that he or she has a problem and realizing that he or she wants to help others that want to help him or her solve the problem and cooperating with them.
The task of putting paid to violent abuse in relationships is a collective one, as the menace knows no gender. For survivors like Jo, the second chance to life is a gift they will continue to cherish. But her wounds and scars are vivid reminders that all hands must be on deck to stamp out this threat on the family unit, a key component in our march towards stability as a nation.